All right. I'm going to try to do this while meandering around my apartment pacing. I just had a really good therapy session. I'm getting over being sick, but I feel quite a bit better today. I'm on cold medicine that helps with the congestion, but I'm still a little bit stuffed up and yeah, fun stuff. But I just was doing dishes and listening to my old YouTube videos, and it kind of got me thinking. And I'm like, I think I want to make another post um, about what I have kind of gone through in therapy today. So, the last 2 weeks, I've kind of been struggling. I think I posted a video towards the beginning of the last 2 weeks, the one where I was dealing with my Am I Too Much video. That wasn't too long ago. And I'm still coming off with dealing with all that and feeling very overwhelmed and emotionally dysregulated. Um, where I'm, it's, well, I kind of talk about what it felt like. I definitely displayed what it felt like in that video. I feel quite a bit calmer this last couple of days, and that's because I was overwhelmed and I was stressing. I was starting to get depressed because I was spiraling with the negative thoughts. And I just said, you know what? I can't I can't do this deep dive emotional shit right now. I need to breathe and take some time to just distract myself and not think about it. And I was a little bit nervous about doing that because that's how I've dealt with my emotions my whole life. I was like, I'm feeling overwhelmed. I don't feel emotionally equipped to deal with this right now. And yesterday I pretty much expressed and I kind of like, so what I do when I'm overwhelmed is I like a disconnect. It's like avoidant. I'm on my phone or I'm playing video games or I'm listening to music. But I'm specifically not having any deep in-depth conversations at all. And I've mentioned this several times in several of my videos about how I will just being avoidant. It's like you're choosing to not deal with things because you feel like you can't, or at least feel like I can't. Um so anyway, I'm talking about this with my therapist and I'm like, I feel like I can't, like I need to get my ADHD under control, my emotional dysregulation under control, because I can't deal with all this deep diving mindfulness bullshit right now. And I'm like, I basically said, like, I was thinking about, I want to take a break. Like, I feel like I can't do this. It's just because I am not good at it. And I'm feeling, what's it called? A word for a feeling. What is it? Overwhelmed, but not insecure about my ability to deal with it. And so I want to run away from it. But one of the things, she gave me this like worksheet to work on, which is like, for me, the hardest thing in the world because I got to write and I'm not good at it. My handwriting is bad and my spelling is bad. And I go through all these thoughts. But she sat me down with something that happened this week. And it wasn't even a big deal. Like my husband said something while I was trying to focus on work and it kind of triggered me. And I had a couple of immediate reactions. It was like, why the fuck are you bringing this up right now? Like I was frustrated. Although at the moment I couldn't even identify what I was feeling. I was like upset immediately and going, I can't deal with this right now. And I kind of shut him down. I'm like, I can't do this right now. And then I never brought it up again, which I probably should have. And then I just continued to spiral in depression and negative thoughts for that week without talking to him about it and kind of ignoring it to myself, like trying to not think about it. It's not a healthy way to deal with your emotions. And I'm like, I know I should be doing the dialectical therapy, but I just feel like I can't. Like, I just feel like I can't. I'm afraid. I'm afraid of the feelings. I'm afraid of the pain. I'm afraid of acknowledging it. And so, so my therapist's advice says, and I told her, I was like, I feel like I'm not equipped. Like in the moment when I'm emotional, I can't think straight. I can't start writing on a piece of paper, what do you feel? And what's the thoughts behind the feeling? I'm like, I just can't. I can't. And she said, what you can do when you're feeling like that is to pause and breathe and just stop and be like, breathe. I have this thought, recognize that you have a thought, and then push it away temporarily and be like, I'm going to think about this when I have a moment. And then at the end of the day, when you're doing your or, journaling or mindfulness, that's when you try to identify what you were feeling. Like actually thinking about your interactions throughout the day. Was there anything that triggered me? Was there anything that upset me? Was there anything that I'm struggling with? And then that's the time where I sit down and try to process how I'm feeling about it. And then at that point, then I go to my husband or whoever it was that I am being emotional about. Then I talk to them about it. This is a skill. And this is like such a huge, like, epiphany, mind blown moment that I don't have to have the answer right this exact second. I can breathe and wait until I'm not emotional and just be like, okay, I'm gonna dig into this like it's a math problem, like treat it like it's a math problem, not an emotion. And I'm just gonna like, okay, my emotions are lying to me. She said that there's a triangle. Also, talking about it helps me solidify it in my brain because I don't know how many times I can tell you that I had a really great therapy session and then I forget everything. So this is really good for me to like kind of, okay, this is what I talked about. This is going to be my mood, my new mindset from here on out. I've got this. So something triggers you, you get emotional, you get upset, you stop and you breathe. And you just go, okay, I'm going to deal with this later when I'm more equipped to deal with it. But I am going to deal with it later. I'm not going to just push it away. But like maybe when I'm like emotional, like that's not the best time to try it. Like that's the problem that I'm struggling with is I can't think of all the steps. It's like I can't think straight and I just feel like a crazy person. So I think I'm very excited. I'm up 7 minutes. Okay, so I'm going to try to keep this under 10 minutes. But I am very excited because I feel like this is, I mean, my therapist has said it so many times, but I think it finally clicked for me, actually physically taking a situation that happened this last week or 2 weeks, and doing it on the paper with her, I don't know, just clicked for me. I feel like I kind of need that, like the handheld situation a little bit, because it's like, you have to actually tell me how to process it because I just don't know how. Anyway, so I feel good about it. The paper was pretty good. You know what I'm going to do when I post this video is she sent me a PDF. I think I can link a PDF in the comments because it was very, very useful. So if you guys struggle with emotional dysregulation, this could probably help. So I will link the worksheet with the sample that she gave me because I think it's very helpful. And for me, I can't say it's working because I literally just learned it today, but I'm going to try this week the other thing I did this last 2 weeks is I think taking a break and doing something that calms me down, doing something that makes me feel better till I'm in a better emotional state to deal with it. Specifically, for me, that's working out, being physical, and really exerting myself, like really sweating hard and putting in some good, like, exertion. I feel so fucking fantastic after that. And that is what I've been lacking the last 2 weeks. I have not worked out the last 2 weeks. I've been sick since Monday. And then today is Friday. But then also, the week prior to that, I was just spinning. I call it like the depression negative spiral, where you just kind of go over in your head all of the negative things and you just I lock up and freeze. It's basically how I existed for 30 years, prior to me trying to work on myself, more than just existing. But yeah, I feel okay right now. I feel good. And I'm excited I feel like, I don't know, I'm trying not to just discount that. I'm like, okay, I got this, because I know, 3 days from now, something's going to happen and I'm not going to feel so confident, but I'm going to try to take this good moment. This weekend is going to be fun. I'm going to go camping, celebrating my 10-year anniversary, which is great. Going to a wedding, actually, so that'll be fun. Anyway, it's going to be a good weekend. I've got this, but, yeah, so I don't even know what to title this video. what I learned in therapy today. I don't know, emotional regulation, overcoming it. I don't know. It's basically the kind of a continuation of the video I posted on Wednesday, because it's the stuff I was dealing with on Wednesday, feeling very overwhelmed and stuff, and I posted a video about that, and now this is after I talked to my therapist. Also, an update, because I talked about being really frustrated with my psychiatrist not listening. And okay, so to be fair, I ramble a lot. In my therapy appointments, I ramble a lot. I am very unfocused. I'm very like blah 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 squirrel. So I don't think my psychiatrist is a bad person, but it just felt like we were not connecting. It felt like he was just invalidating me, and he would be like, anyway, I talked about it. I was very frustrated, and I had a friend who I love her to death. I thank you for kind of pushing me to just, she's like, you need to get a new psychiatrist. And I was like, well, I don't want to be that person who's like, oh, I'm not going to get what I want, I'm just going to go to another doctor. Like, I started thinking about, like, does that make me a bad person? Does that make me, like, too pushy? Or, I'm just started overthinking it. What are they going to think if I go to a new psychiatrist? And I'm like, oh yeah, so I didn't like the psychiatrist I had before because they didn't give me what I want. So I'm just going to move on like that. That's how much I was overthinking it. But she gave me some really good advice. She was like, your psychiatrist is working for you and your doctor is working for you. And if they're not going to help you, then you can fire them. I mean, you may not be paying, if you have insurance, I pay $30 per appointment. So it's not like I pay a ton of money. I have a month, each month, but they get much more than that from insurance. I think most psychiatrists get like over $200 per appointment on top of your copay. So they make money. So if you're not getting what you need, then maybe you need a second opinion. And so that's what I ultimately ended up doing, but I probably wouldn't have if my friend hadn't threatened to come over and help me. She was like, I'm going to come over and help you. And I was like, oh no, someone has to help me. I don't want someone to have to help me because that'll inconvenience them. So it's funny. I won't do something for myself because I have all these excuses as to why I won't do something to help myself. But, if I know I'm going to inconvenience someone else, then all of a sudden I'm motivated. So it's kind of fucking funny. But anyway, I met with the intake person for this new psychiatrist company that is within my network. And it was amazing. He was very validating, took all my medical history information, and like I didn't feel judged. I didn't feel dismissed. I didn't feel unheard. And I think it will help me to go talk to a psychiatrist that specializes in ADHD, because when I saw this initial psychiatrist, he was treating me for anxiety and depression, not for ADHD. And then when I came to him and said, oh, my psychiatrist diagnosed me with ADHD, he's like, well, I need to do my own test, which I get it. They got to do their own test. But then he didn't tell me that, like, I have to do the test before my next meeting. So he's just like, schedule another appointment with me. So it went like 3 or 4 months before I got an official diagnosis from him. And then he didn't want to give me the medication that is most effective for ADHD, because he's like, oh, you have anxiety, so I don't want to give you a stimulant because it could ramp up your anxiety. And I'm like, yes, but it's the most effective medication for ADHD. And of course I'm overthinking and like, well, is it because, so primary medications for ADHD is a stimulant. So Ritalin and Adderall are 2 of the main common ones, but they're also incredibly hard to get and can be misused. I have no intentions of misusing it. I just want to be able to think straight. Like, I don't want to be all hopped up on drugs. In fact, it scared me when I found out that it is related to meth. I was like, what the fuck? I don't want that shit. But then my doctor was like, it's not exactly the same thing, but it's, so it's like a subset of it, but it freaked me out initially. But anyway, I think that I'm going to have an appointment next week with a new provider. I specifically asked for a female. Not that there's anything against guys, but I feel like maybe that was part of the reason why I wasn't connecting with her. But also there's kind of a history of men, no offense, but there is a history of men kind of going, well, you're just freaking out. You're just being a woman with your emotions. And so there's always that thought in the back of your head, or are they just discounting how I feel because I'm a woman? And so in the back of my head, that may not be true, but at least like with a woman, I'm not going to feel that. Like, at least I will feel hopefully more understood and more, like, I have lots of friends that have helped me and given me different advice. I have a friend who's been doing therapy and pill doctor appointments for years and years and years. And she's like, pill doctors, which are psychiatrists, are often very clinical. They're often kind of dismissive and very much like you gotta really be pushy. And I am not good at being pushy I guess sometimes I'm good at being pushy, but not when it comes to someone in authority, like as a doctor or, officer or like a boss at work, a manager, anybody that's in authority of me. It's like I'm afraid of them. And so I'm always worried, are they going to judge me? Are they going to think I'm doing this and this and this wrong? It's like, I really do have pretty bad anxiety, but I don't know. So anyway, I'm going to get a second opinion from this other doctor. And then if that doesn't work, my psychiatrist recommended, she has a psychiatrist, or sorry, my therapist recommended, she has a psychiatrist that she works with closely, which I guess that's the way it used to work, that you used to have a mental health team. You had someone that you talked to that helped you work through things emotionally and deal with the parts that you can control. And then you had a doctor that helped you with the brain chemistry side, which gave you the medication that you may need. So, you can manage your ADHD without medication. It is possible. There are people who do it. But in the beginning, when you're first trying to dig everything up, it's very hard. And I am still very much in the beginning. Emotionally, I finally realized that emotionally, I'm a child. Like I really am. Kind of. I was not taught. I have a very emotionally dysregulated parents, and I was just never taught how to manage my emotions. I was taught you're not allowed to feel things. You are a object of your parents and the church, and you must do everything. I have like a very big aversion to being controlled. Like it pisses me off because of how much I was controlled in childhood. Every aspect of who I was belonged to my parents. They were honor your father and mother, honor your authorities. That was drilled into me at a very young age, which is probably why I feel anxious about authority. Fuck. Anywho's, this is now almost 20 minutes, but I do feel like I've gotten, I don't know, I feel better now and I feel good. So yes, I will post this thing about the exercise that I did about managing emotions if you also struggle with dealing with it. And sometimes you might not even know. Like I didn't realize I actually thought I was kind of emotionally intelligent, and I am not. I have being emotionally intelligent is you can be like, oh, I am feeling this way because of this. I have no ability to do that. Not unless I write it on a piece of paper and I have some guidance with a therapist. Because I was like, she was like, well, what were you feeling at this point? And I went, upset. And she's like, upset is not an emotion. Upset is a feeling. And I was like, I don't know. So I'm really, really not, I was frustrated. Okay, that's an emotion. I was hurt, angry. But it's like I had to think about it. I had to really think about it. There was a lot of layers and I was like, fuck, this is hard. But I think I finally have the mechanics now down, I think. And I think that now that I know that I don't have to deal with it, I think I kind of got a little scared away because my therapist was like, when you're feeling emotional, you need to breathe and then you need to do all these steps. And I was like, oh my God, there's all these steps. What if I forget a step? What if I don't do it right? And I just was like, I can't. But now that I've kind of okay, I can breathe, I can put it aside until I have the mental capacity to deal with it, but then I need to deal with it. So I need to maybe journal about it that night so that I don't forget and be like, okay, I need to put a pin in this. And then I need to really kind of analyze, how does this make me feel? I don't know if this sounds normal to you, but to me, this feels fucking foreign as fuck and not my brain does not compute that this is a thing that you should be doing. So I mean, I think it's clicked. We will see. But yeah, I think I'm gonna end this video now. Under 20 minutes, only by 45 seconds. Have a good day.